We are on.
Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. Kind of depends where you are and where you're watching. But we want to welcome you. My name is Reverend Kelly Isla, and I am here with my beautiful co-host, Hafsa.
Caroline is a picture
talk
of
to
home,
each other.
where
We'll
she
talk to you a
developed a
little bit more
life-threatening
about who each of us are, but we want to say good evening. We want to say thank you for joining us. We are pleased to welcome you to our 2021 virtual fundraising night for Advocates of Silence Turkey. This is a celebration and a fundraiser as part of Giving Tuesday. So there will be actually 2 weeks between now and December 5th for fundraising. Hello, Hafsa.
Hi.
It's good to see you.
It's good to see you too.
Yeah, so before we hop into talking about ourselves, I want to let the audience know, and those that are listening and watching, who Advocates of Silence Turkey is, in case I know a lot of people are watching live on YouTube, and some people may not be as familiar with Advocates of Silence Turkey as others. Advocates of Silence Turkey is a 501c3 nonprofit that is registered in the United States. And since July of 2016, the Turkish government has wrongfully and violently accused and imprisoned hundreds of thousands of homemakers and mothers and teachers and NGO workers and academics and journalists and judges and lawyers and prosecutors and anyone and everyone simply because of their affiliation with the Gulen movement, also known as the Hizmet movement. And Hizmet, if you're not familiar with that term, literally means service. I know for me, my life is a life of service, my commitment and my passion and my outward expression to advocating for and working for human rights, as an imperative, not just a nice thought or idea. There was a time when the Republic of Turkey was praised around the world for being a very powerful model of democracy. However, this new Turkey, since July of 2016, since the failed coup attempt, this new Turkey is where people are being silenced. And they are being silenced, as I said, because they're speaking out against this regime. The Erdogan regime that is oppressive, that is instituting brutal laws, just people are disappearing and being killed. There's mass incarceration and just every single day, every minute of every day, more and more violations of universal human rights, where that has literally become the norm. In this current Turkish regime, as I said, led by Erdogan, it ranks as one of the worst violators of human rights in Eastern Europe and Central Asia. And I'm not even sure if it might even be one of the worst in the world. But it operates as this is the rule of law. And so there's been almost 190 media outlets have been shut down. Several hundred journalists, more than 300 journalists are political prisoners. And so under this new Turkey, human rights are being stripped away, have been and continue to be stripped away, and there is no such thing as respect for human dignity. That's absent. So Advocates for Silence Turkey is a group of lawyers, of judges, of academics, of journalists, of hundreds of activists that, whether they have a degree or not, that just have some time, whether it's an hour a month or hundreds of hours, live everywhere in the world, who cherish democratic ideals, who are committed to universal human rights, opposed to this, we're sort of prisoners of our own conscience, right? And we cannot stand by and just watch people lose their jobs, their properties, their family members, and just be stripped of everything that makes us human by a government that is described as a mafia state. So we are Advocates of Silence Turkey, basically giving voice to those that don't have a voice. And this is our mission, to champion the rights of those that have been silenced in Turkey, and will not be silent. We will not be silent until universal human rights and a democratic government are established, and the priorities of being human, of safety, of dignity, of belonging are become the priorities in the Republic of Turkey.
Yes, it's a breathtaking issue, and we are trying to involve as many people as we can to be supported and to be a voice of these voiceless people. And we are going to thank you so much, Kelly, for this amazing introduction to our event tonight. And we are going to start our event with introducing ourselves as your MCs. My colleague and Kelly and I are going to moderate tonight. So I'm Hafsa Girdap. I am the Executive Director and the spokesperson of AST, Advocates of Silence Turkey, for more than 4 years right now. And I am also an academic working in the women's gender studies. I have 2 daughters, and we have been living in New York for 5 years, just after the coup attempt in Turkey. And yes, Kelly, it's your turn. That's me.
Yeah, and I think people listening really need to know, like you say, well, that's me. I don't know. I think you sleep like maybe an hour or 2 a day, just your dedication, your commitment, and just always learning there's something else. I don't know how you squeeze it into your day, but you are absolutely the walking example of everything that I was saying about giving voice to the voiceless. So it's, of course, a pleasure and a privilege to serve with you tonight. I am Reverend Kelly Isla. I am co-founder of an organization called Project Sanctus, and Sanctus, S-A-N-C-T-U-S, is the Latin word for holy. So it's Project Sanctus is all about how we are living our most holy self, right? Living our most noble self, which is what Advocates of Silence Turkey is being able to give a voice to that. For several decades, been working in the field of interfaith work, as an academic, as an activist, as serving in spiritual communities. I have Reverend in front of my name, but I'm not in a church. I'm sort of a gypsy minister. I'm out and about around the globe teaching and writing and advocating. So anyway, we both can go on and on about ourselves, but we're going to start tonight with a video about Advocates of Silence Turkey so that those that are watching get a chance to see who AST is, what they have been doing, what they're going to do, and how you can take action. Because what you're gonna experience tonight is multiple speakers from different parts of Europe and the United States. All of our guest speakers are going to express their own experience with Advocates of Silence Turkey. Because honestly, if you go to silenceturkey.org, the website, I have never seen an organization that gives you the opportunity to be involved, to volunteer in as many ways as you can. Like there's a place and a space and a lane for absolutely everyone. So you're going to learn more about that tonight and why it's so important, why if you don't live in Turkey, why it matters what's going on in Turkey. So we'll see some videos also of AST's activities and meet some people and have some a couple of conversations along the way. So let's get started with our first video.
AST was founded by a group of academics, journalists, legal experts, and civil society volunteers with a firm belief in these rights to disclose the unprecedented corruption of power in Turkey and the victims it created. On the one side, AST is raising awareness on the human rights violations committed by the Erdogan regime among the international society. On the other side, it is getting involved in the legal processes of the victims in a pro bono and active manner. The AST documents the ongoing victimizations and shares them with the decision makers and general public. In this regard, 29 books, 46 reports, 35 exhibitions, 11 documentaries, 96 legal applications, 104 events and activities, and many other concrete accomplishments have already been made by the AST family. You can reach out to AST over its phone number, website, or social media accounts and ask for help, participate in the activities, and contribute. The AST prepares comprehensive reports on human rights violations and shares them with the United Nations, European Council, and European Court of Human Rights, all of which Turkey is a party to. Extending its outreach to human rights committees of national parliaments, AST is committed to be the voice of the voiceless. It also provides legal guidance for individual applications to European Court of Human Rights and other institutions to compensate the violations with the mindset better late than never. The obligation to protect our rights lies with us. This is why we are here, and together we're stronger.
Yes, it's an amazing video, right? There are a lot of stuff that we have done, but there are a lot of stuff that we have to do from now on. So we'll start with our Vice President of Advocates of Silence Turkey, and I will introduce him to you, Mr. Sayed Önal. He's gonna be giving his welcoming speech of this event tonight. He has been a part of AST for many years and also led many initiatives regarding human rights issues and peace and community building. Welcome, Mr. Önal. Floor is yours.
Thank you so much. I cannot turn my camera on if you let me, so I can be visible as much as
just
heard.
a moment, of course. Actually, you should be, able to. Yes.
Okay, I'm back in. All right.
Perfect. Yeah.
Thank you, Hafsa. Thank you, Kelly, for a great start of the program this evening. And thank you allowing me to say a few words. Whether the source of disruption in your life is a global emergency or a personal tragedy, or both, living through difficult times can take a heavy toll on your mood, health, and outlook. It can leave you feeling helpless and overwhelmed by stress and anxiety. You may be painfully grieving all that you have lost, flooded by a slew of difficult, conflicting emotions, or uncertain about how to move on with your life. You may even feel that your life is totally out of control and you are powerless to affect whatever may happen next. At these times, a friendly smile, a shoulder to rest, and someone who cares makes all the difference between surviving or giving up. Welcome to another Giving Tuesday fundraising by Advocates of Silence Turkey. We are the Advocates of Silence Turkey. We, the advocates, have made it our mission to champion the rights of Silence Turkey until universal human rights and democratic governance are established and sustained as the utmost priorities of the Republic of Turkey. With your help today and every day, we can achieve this big goal. We want Turkey to turn back to democracy and the rule of law. Now, to achieve this, we have come together at the Advocates of Silence Turkey team and volunteers. There are 51 great projects that you're going to learn more about this evening that you can help to fund. One of the projects that I'm particularly excited about is making movies and documentaries about the human rights abuses and the stories of the persecuted millions in Turkey. We can achieve together to document everything that has been taking place and making sure it never ever happens again in Turkey or anywhere else in the world. Thank you for your help and care. Thank you for your being so generous and being there for all those whose voices cannot be heard this evening. So I wish you have a fantastic evening, and your generosity is so appreciated. Let's focus on how to make this human tragedies stop in Turkey this evening. You can do it. We can do it together. Thank you. Have a great evening.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
We can do it together. I believe that as well. We're going to start with that's what the evening is an evening of doing this together. And we're going to hear from several different people, as I said at the beginning, from different parts of Europe and the US. So I want to introduce Carrie O'Rourke, who is here in my backyard, Kansas City, Missouri. She has been actively involved in various forms of ministry for more than 4 decades. In 1984, she professed a vow of nonviolence, which I almost want to do a sidebar and ask more about that. But her focus has been in service to those who are resource poor. She's a member of Grace and Holy Trinity Cathedral here in Western Missouri, and she serves as the chairperson for their Interfaith and Ecumenical Committee, and she serves as a member of their Outreach Committee, and of course, a very active, powerful, drive the boat person for AST. So welcome, Carrie. It's good to see you.
Wow, I didn't know I did all those things.
I know, right? When you're busy being in service, you don't keep track. That's why I was saying that about Hafsa. Yeah.
Yeah, gosh. Okay. Well, as Kelly, thank you, said, I'm Carrie O'Rourke, and I am a U.S. citizen. And I think that's really important to say out loud, because we who were born here were born into privilege, and we have many battles going on right here in our own backyard. That's a fact. But we have resources available to us that other people don't have right now. And so the big question for me that I asked over and over again in preparing for this was, why should we care about something that's happening halfway around the world? And I can tell you it's important. I can tell you why. I can make a case. Because AST, their purpose is to be the voice of the voiceless. And anytime a member of our community, our world, our global community suffers, we all suffer. And that's a fact. And as Kelly mentioned earlier, the brutality of the Erdogan regime is overwhelming. It's a fact. So what does it mean to give a voice to someone, or to give a voice to the voiceless? That's kind of it's a popular buzz phrase right now, actually, I have to say. But what does it mean? Well, I've been teaching, and I've been talking to people, and I've been meeting my Turkish brothers and sisters, meeting them face to face, meeting them on Zoom. And I've been listening to what they have to say. And here's what it means to give a voice to something. Once you listen to the story, and you find out that, for example, there's a little girl who doesn't want to eat because she's afraid to grow too big so her mother won't be able to carry her. That's a real story. Once that person, the child told me that story. I met that face to face. Once you meet an individual who's been in prison and who escaped, and it cost her $15,000 US dollars to get across the border, because after she was while she was in prison, she also was suffering from muscular sclerosis, MS, and she couldn't just jump in a boat and escape in the night. She had to be smuggled across the border, 15,000 US dollars to get her to one country and then the next country. And she is happy to be living in a refugee camp in Germany. I'm sitting here in Kansas City, and you see the background. I've got the cityscape as my background today. I'm sitting here in Kansas City. I have never once lived in a refugee camp, and I'm pretty sure I wouldn't be happy about it. So that's why I'm asking you to make an investment in this. These stories are real. And once we come to meet these people, and if you go to the AST website, you can hear the stories. There's not just one story, there are hundreds, okay? Once you hear that story and you get to know these people, I no longer call them stranger. I call them my friend. I call them my brother. I call them my sister. And they are important to me. And they're important to you too, because when one part of the body suffers, we all suffer. And we are living here with the resources to help make a difference. So I'm not asking you really to give anything. I'm asking you to invest. I'm asking you to invest in a future that allows the voice to be heard, to allow these stories to come to light so that we can stop this craziness. We can stop the pain, the suffering, the trauma. It's needless, but somebody has to speak up. And the only way we speak up is by hearing and listening to the story retelling the story and making it stop, saying no more. And we have the power and the resources to be able to do that. Thank you.
Thank you, Carrie, so much. Thank you so much for your remarkable and sincere words. Now we will watch a video message from Daryl Beal, the Democratic Iowa State Senator from 2003 to 2015. And Senator Beal served on several committees in the Iowa Senate, the Economic Growth Committee, the Education Committee, the Local Government Committee, where he is vice chair, and also the Transportation Committee, where he is vice chair, and the Veterans Affairs Committee, where he is chair. He also serves on the Transportation, Infrastructure, and Capitals Appropriations Subcommittee. Now let's hear from him.
Hello, my name is Daryl Beal. I live in Fort Dodge, Iowa, and I love turkey. I visited Turkey twice as an Iowa State Senator, once in 2008 and then again in 2012. The trips were sponsored by the Niagara Foundation, previously known as the Iowa Dialogue Center. Both are Fethullah Gulen-inspired Hizmet movements. I witnessed a secular government that protected free speech and tolerated, well, even embraced dissent and criticism. That was before Erdogan, who was elected in August 2015. Conditions in Turkey have changed dramatically, and not for the better. He jails journalists who dare publish the truth and criticize his autocratic rule. He does not tolerate dissent of any kind. President Erdogan is abolishing, even destroying, many of the things that I admired so much in Turkey, including freedom of the press. He is endangering the secular and democratic Turkey. Turkey and the United States have been friends and allies for years. We are both NATO members. We have built many bridges, including educational and cultural exchanges. Erdogan's actions, silencing dissent and endangering secular and democratic society, are stressing U.S.-Turkish relations and harming Turkey's international reputation. It is quite apparent that Erdogan is concentrating power and building a one-man autocratic show in Turkey. He is embarking on the seemingly mutually exclusive goal of ridding his country of the old Turkey and trying to build a new Turkey under him. Erdogan would do well to embrace the rule of law, respect a free press, and tolerate dissent, and release political prisoners. He should focus on building a greater Turkey, not on his own autocratic rule. I wrote an article, or two essays. One appeared in the Daily Zaman, a Turkish newspaper, and also published a similar one in the Des Moines Register. Erdogan's trolls contacted the president of the Senate and tried to silence me and intimidate me. I was concerned about her safety, but some Turkish friends told me that I shouldn't worry here, that we were not in danger in the United States. But I'm a persona non grata in Turkey and would be arrested if I step foot in Turkey. The Turkish people must determine Turkey's future and destiny. But we Americans can raise our voices in support of them and a free, secular, democratic Turkey. I strongly support the victims of Erdogan's oppression and seek relief for them and release from prison for them. I support and applaud the work of the Advocates of a Silenced Turkey. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Daryl. You know, both he and Carrie gave, said very clearly why, or what I thought was clear, why what happens in Turkey matters, here. Here, like here, meaning like in Iowa, or I'm in Missouri, but here in the U.S. And it reminds me of sometimes the thinking that we have, which is that this is a zero-sum game. Sum, S-U-M, like addition, and zero sum means that my good will take away from your good. So +1 - 1 equals 0. That there's not a way to where everybody wins. That if something good happens for me, everything is raised up. And so it really, whatever happens in Turkey, while it may seem, at least like where I sit here in the Midwest of the US, a million miles away, that anything good that happens for Turkey raises the good for the whole world. Even if you can't necessarily see it, that's kind of how life works, right? So that's the place that I work from. That's the place that I operate from. That's the place that I think most of us do, that this is not a zero-sum game, that my good adds to your good, that your good adds to mine, that the rights of one person, if one person doesn't have freedom, or safety, then none of us do. Like, really, it's not just a theory. It does actually, if we spend time with each other, it does actually work that way. So anyway, that's you're going to get little soapbox pieces from me all night long. Can't really help it. I just feel
Which
very
is
passionate.
great, Kelly. I'm very good with that. Go ahead.
Yes. So let's introduce our next speaker, Sweta Polat. And again, thank you, Daryl. Daryl Beal, I'm going to go find the article that you referenced, but
Share with me too.
yes, Sweta Polat is a senior student at Emory University pursuing a sociology degree with a minor in Arabic. She's editor of Silent Turkey. On campus, she's a research assistant in both the history and sociology departments, where she separately explores the topics of race and inequality and the sociology and the socialization of Muslim American children. She's committed to human rights advocacy. I know, because I've met her and I've heard her, and I just wish I had been that committed at her age, when I was that age. But she works on a volunteer basis with Advocates of Silence Turkey as a coordinator for both the organization's internship program, its youth branch called AST ECHO. She's previously been a panelist at the United Nations Commission on the Status of Women to talk about women's rights violations. And she's involved in her local community through various service programs, including as a high school mentor. That's with all her free time outside of pursuing a couple of degrees. I'm always amazed. Outside the field of academia, she loves to travel and learn new skills, and she is looking forward to pursuing a law degree after graduation in order to better serve the cause of justice. So let's hear from Sweta Polat.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sweta Polat. Thank you for watching us today. I want to take a few minutes to talk a little bit about Silent Scream, one of Advocates of Silence Turkey's newest publications, and why I think it deserves a read. First off, the book consists of 3 stories told from the perspectives of 3 separate women who have lived through different forms of persecution under the Erdogan regime in Turkey. The book is a deceptively simple read, and I say deceptively because even though it can reasonably be read in a couple of hours, I can guarantee that you'll be left under the impression of these stories for quite a long time afterwards. Personally, I was continually astonished by the perseverance and the patience that not only these women, but also their young children and their families showed in the face of great, almost unimaginable difficulty. The book was also significant in that it helped me recommit to justice. I think many of us, simply by reading the news or interacting with the events in Turkey or people who have lived through these events, we might think that we know what it's like, or that we understand what they're feeling, or that to some degree we empathize. This book showed me that I wasn't empathizing enough, I didn't understand enough, and I couldn't. So I think if you want to understand what these people are going through, to genuinely see some of the emotions and the thoughts and the feelings they battle with on a daily basis, I definitely recommend reading this book. I don't want to give away the plot, but the first story is about a woman and her family living through the coup and the events that followed, and then deciding to migrate and what that looked like, what sort of difficulties they faced afterwards. The second story was, I think, the most impactful. It was about a woman who went through similar things, but who was unable to migrate and who lost her family on the way. And the sacrifices that she made in that decision. The last story is from the perspective of a woman who was unjustly imprisoned, and she talks a lot about what it's like to be reacquainted with freedom after imprisonment. She talks a lot about the conditions in prison and how they were treated by the guards, and so much more. In these stories, we see a lot of what Turkey looks like currently. We see the formation of a police state. We see the psychological and material toll of imprisonment on not only those who are imprisoned, but also their families. We see the inhumane conditions in these prisons. We see what the effects of social isolation are. We see what the loss of economic support looks like for these families. We see the disruption of families themselves. And we see the difficulty of ordinary life events, such as pregnancy, while living under a state of oppression. So even though the stories are not written in a legal language, they're entirely just narrative, they really make a legal analysis that I think is simple enough for everybody to understand. They wonderfully show how corrupt the judicial and the legislative systems in Turkey have become, and how this corruption has diffused through society. So I want to encourage you to do two things. One, I'd like you to buy, read, and share the book, because it takes a tremendous amount of courage to share your final thoughts as you occupy a moment between life and death, as one of the women did. It takes so much bravery and so much vulnerability to do that. Nobody does that for the sake of not being read or not being heard. They're putting these stories out there for you to listen, for you to read, and for you to consume and do something about it. So again, I would encourage you to buy, read, and share the book. It's available on Amazon. And secondly, on Giving Tuesday, I would encourage you to contribute to AST however you can, however much you can. By doing so, not only will you have done your part in working towards a fairer world, but you will also have helped fund bigger and better projects, advocating for the rights of those who are being persecuted as we speak. Thank you.
So I would like to thank Sueda for attending our program, and also for all the energetic work she does for the good of humanity. Young voices are so very much important for us. As I remind people, often we use all the opportunities to give a voice to the voiceless people, to speak up, to raise awareness about the human rights violations ongoing in Turkey. And art is itself a powerful language, powerful tool to talk all about this. Concerning this, we organized contests, and one of them was a song contest. Now we'll hear a song sung by a young voice, again, Yağmur, to raise awareness about Turkey's ongoing human rights violations. Let's listen to Yağmur.
To be honest, to live the best little kid who grew up with his arrest. Later learned that this was my only quest to defend the unarmed with song. Trying hard to light this fire, flying high with stars beneath us. Everywhere that I go, I'm searching these glow. Hope is everywhere, you can always find a way. Sun will rise one day, I'm sorry, I can't pretend why you're in loneliness. I can't be who I am. Hello, old lady thin, heal your lips wounds within, for there'll be no waiting for your son and kin. Trying hard to light this fire, flying high with stars beneath us. Everywhere that I go, I'm searching His love. Hope is everywhere, you can always find the way. Sun will rise one day, one day. Hope is everywhere, you can always find the way. And blue skies one day.
Hope, it says hope will always find a way. And I don't know if people heard that in the middle of the video, but hope will always find a way. And and maybe that wasn't exactly the words, but just life always finds a way. And we do this together. You know, you were, Hafsa, you mentioned, you know, young people, and I did too. I'm like, I wish I had been that awake and, you know, conscious when I was, you know, that age. Not as, it's not, I'm not, you know, like down on me. I'm just amazed. I'm just always in awe. And the creative arts, as you mentioned, it's a powerful language to talk about what's going on. It's a powerful language to engage people into expressing themselves and to moving us into action. You know, it's before we even had spoken language, you know, words and written, we were, as humans, you know, as creatures, we were dancing, we were chanting, you know, we were writing, we were being artistic, right, with drums. And so the creative arts is a very powerful tool, using our imagination, and it's unlimited what we can do, the difference we can make. You can see on the screen that AST has a goal of $250,000 this year. You can go to silenceturkey.org/donate now. So far, I believe we've raised $42,150. And know that, as I said at the very beginning, that AST is a nonprofit organization. So donations are tax deductible if if you have that available to you. And every single penny goes to shining a light on those that are in prison, those that are being tortured, anyone that has had their human rights taken away. Every penny, every dollar supports, innocent women and babies that are put in prison, the elderly. There's no amount that's too small. I think sometimes people think that, well, I only have a few dollars. So a few dollars a month. I know here in the US, I kind of equate it to, people that are willing to, for $4 a day, get a Starbucks coffee. So maybe one day you don't, right? And so that would be $4, even if that was once a month, the $4 in the course of a year, that's $50 US. That makes you have no idea the impact that can make in all the different things that Advocates of Silence Turkey does. I can't say enough about, and ask often enough. I have no shame in asking. Money plays a powerful role in raising, the rights of everyone and making sure that everyone has a voice, that everyone has safety, has a sense of dignity, has a sense of belonging, has a meal. And you can see on the screen, there's, your credit card or debit card, silenceturkey.org/donate now. PayPal, you can go to paypal.me/AST111. You can set up ZELLE, ZELLE, through your bank account, the Advocates of Silence Turkey @gmail.com, and also Patreon. So if you go to patreon.com and search for Advocates of Silence Turkey, you can find a way to donate through that as well. And that would be, yeah, and any of these you can set up as ongoing, as recurring every month, have a certain amount. And again, we're doing this between November 21st today and December 5th. So while it's a Giving Tuesday fundraiser, Giving Tuesday is 2 weeks. It's probably the only Tuesday of the year that's 2 weeks here during this time. So I just want to let you know that that really, whatever it is you have to give, and what am I, oftentimes I ask myself, what am I willing to do or to stop doing, that you know, I say stop doing, but what am I willing to not do in order to do something over here? And if that means giving up a couple of Starbucks coffees here in the US, they're kind of expensive. If that means eating out one time less every month, there's so many ways to just shift the resources. And without it being this, huge, it's so hard, this big sacrifice, we have no idea the ripple effect. And that's a giving voice to the voiceless, right? I think we're going to move on to another video. Yes, Hafsa?
Yes. And I think it's a video from Russell, right?
Yes, from Russell Goodman. Yep.
Yeah. Do you want to introduce him?
Yeah, he's a pastor with United Methodist Church in Pennsylvania and the founding member of the board of directors of the World Affairs Council of Harrisburg. He's a veteran journalist with an expertise in international logistics. He has served as an executive director of Supply Chain Brain, which is a publication. He's also served in similar capacities for publications like Defense and Diplomacy, The Washington Report on Middle East Affairs and Global Logistics. He's practiced law for more than a decade in New Orleans, Louisiana, here in the US. He graduated from Loyola Law School. He's also served as a columnist on legal affairs for the New Orleans Times Picayune newspaper. And he's very widely traveled and he's lived abroad several times, and he lives in Harrisburg with his wife and his son. So let's listen to Russell.
Hello, friends. This is Pastor Russell Goodman in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. I'm a Christian pastor here. I'm a board member of the World Affairs Council of Harrisburg, and I am a friend of Turkey and of the members of Advocates for a Silenced Turkey. I'm here to ask you to support them in their efforts to undo the tragic things that have occurred because of the despotic regime that has been ruling Turkey for so long. You know as well as I do that lives have been turned upside down. Friends and loved ones have been imprisoned illegally. Property has been taken illegally. Lives and livelihoods have been destroyed, and Advocates for a Silenced Turkey are working to change that, but they can't do it by themselves. They need my help. They need your help. Together, all of us, we can bring the needed change to this wonderful country and the folks who live there and who are beleaguered by the despot in charge. I urge you to support Advocates for Silenced Turkey. Join us. Thank you, friends.
Yeah, I would like to thank to Mr. Rosman because of Mr. Goodman, sorry, and he's really a great support to us. Yes, and now we have live guests right now with us, and Steve and Mara. Welcome, Steve and Mara. Are they here?
There we go.
Yeah, welcome. Okay, we're good. So I would like to introduce you first. And Steve and Mara live in Warrensburg, Missouri, and have been active in AST for over a year. Steven graduated with undergrad degrees in anthropology and German studies, while Mara is pursuing a degree in anthropology. For a number of reasons, human rights mean a lot to them, and AST has been a way to meet countless faces near and far and try to do some good in the world. Welcome again, Mara and Steve. Thank you for joining us tonight, and I'm so excited to hear what you have to say.
Of course. Thank you. Yeah, well, like you said, we joined this group because we thought it would be a wonderful opportunity to learn and to meet people and to sort of broaden our horizon. But as we started to hear more and more stories and meet people, we realized that this group actually makes a huge impact around the world, and how important that is. We keep hearing the word silenced or to be silenced tonight. And when you really think about that, that's a really big thing, because if you've ever been in a position where your voice is all that you have and that gets ripped away, you can feel helpless, like there's nowhere to turn. And so that's why it's so important to support a group like Advocates of Silence Turkey, because they help restore that voice, and they help those people that felt like they couldn't help themselves.
For sure. And I mean, kind of building on what Kelly and Carrie have said earlier, just that a lot of these stories that we hear and we experience in the group, they stay with me. I mean, there's times we've had meetings and I go to bed at night thinking, you know, I have it so good in the position I am, that some families have gone, some individuals have gone through things so harrowing, things that have been read up. People read about people escaping slavery in the U.S. or the Holocaust, or all these. Throughout history, there have been trials and tribulations and things that people have gone through for themselves and their families, and you disassociate it a little bit as, oh, it's in the past, it doesn't happen, but it is. Things like this do happen. Authoritarianism continues to sink its claws into innocent people and people who are pillars of their community. And there's always kind of this idea of NIMBA, like not in my backyard, of like, well, that's not going to happen to me. That's not going to happen here. We have it so good here. But as a young adult within Advocates of Silence Turkey, even just meeting Turkish individuals who are with the Hizmet and Gülen movement, they're not just in Turkey. They're all over the world. They're coming here, and they're pillars of so many communities who deserve the same freedom, rights, and liberties that everybody deserves. And AST has been an amazing outlet to help the people, give a voice to the voiceless, and advocate for something that's truly greater than ourselves. And I'm just honored to be a part of it. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you to both of you.
So yeah, seeing your enthusiasm and your concern about not only those in your backyard, but also, you know, the ones in, you know, faraway countries, it actually shows what is real humanity, what the real humanity is, right, Kelly? Do you agree with me?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. I'll agree with you on everything, Hafsa. You're the leader. I'm just following your lead.
No, I'm very happy to be, you know, with you tonight. Yeah.
Well, you know, when we hear from all these different people like Steve and Mara and Carrie and Daryl and people from all, and Mr. Goodman, like from all different places, we are they're making it clear that what matters in Turkey, what matters elsewhere, impacts here.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they wouldn't be responding and serving the way that they do. So I think it's, you know, it's not just by accident that we have people, you know, so many people that are not in Turkey that are sharing their stories tonight.
Yeah, this reminds me of, you know, Martin Luther King's wise words. I'm sure you know about it. You know, injustice anywhere is a threat to injustice everywhere, right? So that's the concern that we have to be carrying out while doing some fight for human rights.
Yep.
Yeah. Let's move.
Yes. So thank you, Steve and Mara, and thank you for your warm message and your continued support. Very, you know, always seemingly kind of quiet in the background, but not so quiet. And we absolutely wish you the best of luck on your studies and finish up so you can be more, active. You
I'm
gotta
working
finish
on it.
school.
She's got gen eds left. Every semester. We're getting there.
I'm always going to be in school, I think.
Very cool. Very cool. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Our next guests are Lou and Gloria Hinshaw. Lou is retired from ministry in the United Church of Christ, and Gloria is a retired early childhood special education teacher. They love living in Washington State and in the Northwest region of the United States. They have been actively advocating for elder rights and monitoring long-term facilities where they live. And they are really very powerful, again, kind of like Steve and Mara. They might seem not very active, but very powerful, quiet, consistent, powerful presence in their community, and examples of health and wholeness, and demonstrating that through a consciousness of prayer, a consciousness of well-being and community, that it's, this work of Advocates of Silence Turkey. And, while this is a fundraiser, it's also about how we give of, and support the well-being of everyone, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And so Lou and Gloria are absolutely a powerful example of that. And they have been participating with AST board since its inception. So let's listen to Lou and Gloria.
My name is Gloria, and I am a supporter of AST, Advocates for Silent Turkey. I became involved with this organization on the advisory board, and I did so because about 10 years ago, my husband and I met a lovely young man who was a Turkish man, and we met him through a interfaith dialogue organization, and we became very, very good friends. And he introduced us to so many lovely young Turkish couples who also became part of our family. And as we got to know them, we realized that many of them had people and families still back in Turkey where Great Oppression was going on. And because we all felt like family together, we wanted to support AST to help them support their families who are still back in Turkey.
And we have heard so many stories of people who have experienced the oppression and the violation of human rights in Turkey. And in hearing those stories, we come to realize that we enjoy great freedom, but we also care very much about other people and their experiences. We support AST for that reason. We feel that it's important that our friendships and our relationships extend across the globe, and that we take into account other people. So we support AST. We support it with our time. We support it with our money as well. And there will be an opportunity for financial support for AST coming up on Giving Tuesday. And we certainly encourage you to make a gift. This is a concrete way to express your love and your concern for other people, and express your support for human rights across the globe. Thank you very much. We appreciate being a part of this group, and we will hold you all in our hearts and in our prayers.
Thank you, Lou. Thank you, Gloria.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you very much. So I think we have a little video. Oh, yes. Oh, look where we're at. Yay. It's like 20,000, almost 20,000 more since the last time we mentioned it. So thank you very much. I know that donations have been coming in from all over, $100 from Hassan, $500 from Aziz, $1,000 from in Germany, $2,000 from a pastor. I don't have all the specific details, but lots of donations, small and large, from all over the world.
Yeah.
I also want to make sure and tell you how the donations will be used. We ask for the, for financial contribution and support, but we'd like you to know where, so everybody usually, most people I know ask, well, where exactly does that money go? So this graphic that's on the screen gives you an idea of our goal is about $250,000. So here's where kind of how that money would be divided up, because the Advocates of Silence Turkey does so many different things, so many different projects, and so many different commitments. So $25,000 to $30,000 for the International Freedom Convention on Human Rights, which Hafsa will talk about a little bit later before we're done. $18,000 to $25,000 US on video productions around the abuse of Interpol by Turkey. There's $30,000 to $35,000 for documentaries, $25,000 to $30,000 for legal applications, for 10 legal applications, and that's 10 is out of the hundreds, maybe even thousands that are needed. That just gives you an idea of just how much money it takes just for the legal applications, just to navigate through this horrific system. $25,000 to $30,000 for protests at more than 20 locations. So that's not really, if you look at it as, it's $1,000 maybe, or $1,500 for one protest. And again, we'll see a little bit more about the protests too. We have a video on that. The $15,000 to $18,000 on the International Art Contest and an art book on Amazon. Remember, thinking about the creative arts and the power of that. There's an International White Chair Film Festival that's about $20,000. 5 new books on Amazon and Google Books is somewhere around $35,000 to $40,000. And just general expenses, $25,000 just for general expenses. There's hundreds of employees, and yet there are still administrative expenses. There are, and reports. Go to silenceturkey.org and go to the report section. If you want to know anything about what's going on in Turkey and the violation of human rights, there is a report, there's a white paper, there is more information than you could imagine. And the reports are about the torture going on and the human rights violations against children. Yes, the Erdogan government and dictatorship regularly violates the rights of children and commits violent, horrific acts against children and mothers. So that's just, I zipped through all those because not everybody necessarily can see the screen, but wanted to give you an idea of all the, the different fundraising projects and where your money will go. It absolutely gets put to work, very much so. Yeah. So we're gonna hear from a woman named Gretchen Ike.
Ellie, I'm so sorry to interrupt you,
Yeah.
but I want to share something. I don't know if you could follow the comments on the YouTube page of our channel, our organization, but you have to see the energy and the synergy there, that they are pledging their donations, and there's a great, sincere synergy there. And I wanna read just one message there. I am 10 years old and I gave donation to them. Even though I only donated $45, it still felt worthwhile. You see the energy, you see the eagerness to do some good for humanity, even if it's a child.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, I don't. And said, even though I only donated, it's
Every
not
penny
only
counts, guys. Every penny counts. Yeah,
Yes.
because it's gonna be become an ocean, even with the little drops that we are, contributing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and imagine if 10 people did $45. That's there's what 7.8 billion people in the world. If please. I don't know who the child is. I'm 10 years old, but please take the word only out of your vocabulary. It's a very powerful act. It's a very powerful and just very compassionate, something that we can all learn from. That age doesn't matter, the age, and any dollar amount is always put to good work. Thank you. I'm glad you pointed that out, Hafsa.
Thank you. Yeah. Good go.
So we're gonna now we're going to hear from Gretchen Ike. She is, after 14 years as a foreign and military police lobbyist in Washington, she earned a PhD from Kansas University here in my backyard and became a professor of history. She was awarded 2 Fulbright Scholar Awards, which, if you know anything about Fulbright Scholars, you have to be quite brilliant to get a Fulbright Scholar. So I'm impressed. She is the author of 12 books, 2 scholarly histories, several novels, a book on short stories, and the topics revolve around the civil rights movement here in the US, history of violations and abuse of indigenous peoples here in the US, and advocating for reform and for their rights. She's served as secretary for the Kansas African American Museum and vice president of the Wichita Area Kansas Authors Club, and she teaches classes. So let's hear from Gretchen.
Hi, I'm Dr. Gretchen Ike, and I'm a member of Advocates for Silenced Turkey. I went to Turkey in 2012 and met with a number of people who were running schools and universities and hospitals and trying to help people all around the world who were suffering from catastrophes, natural disasters, war, etc. I was very impressed with what I saw and with the people that I met and stayed with. So when I came back home, and 4 years later there was a coup attempt in Turkey in 2016, and President Erdogan blamed that attempt on the very people that I had known and worked with, visited with, and gotten to know in Turkey. I was very doubtful and very concerned. Then as I got a chance to meet with people who were among the thousands of people who have lost their jobs, lost their ability to leave the country, lost their income, some of whom have been tortured and imprisoned, some of them, even children who had been held in prison with their mothers, I became more and more concerned. So when I learned about Advocates for Silenced Turkey, I thought, this is something I want to participate in. So I have become a part of my local chapter in Wichita, Kansas, where I live. I am one of many who are I'm one of many from around the United States that are part of Advocates for Silenced Turkey and are really concerned about the human rights abuses and the authoritarianism of the Erdogan regime, keeping people from leaving their countries, keeping people from having work, keeping people from experiencing the full freedoms that are so important to the quality of life of individuals in a democracy. So I'm part of Advocates for Silenced Turkey, and I hope you will join me in supporting the work that they do with all of the refugees from Turkey that have fled the country and tried to get away from this authoritarian government. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Gretchen, for all the words that you said. I got the chance to have met her and to have been interviewed by her, and it was amazing. Thanks again, Gretchen. Now we will have one more young voice, one more young advocate, Feride Sarıbaş, who is one of the victims of Turkey's human rights violations, the huge purge. She is the author of The Farewell of Ahmet Adaç. She had to leave her hometown and her home country. She is in the process of building a new life in New Hampshire with her parents, and she's currently a sophomore graphic design student in Keene State College, New Hampshire. Let's watch her message.
Good evening, everyone, or if you're elsewhere in the world, good morning or good afternoon. I hope you're well and healthy, and I would like to start off by thanking you so much for joining us today in this beautiful event by AST. I am Feride Sarıbaş. I live in New Hampshire, United States. I'm currently a second-year college student at Keene State College. I'm studying graphic design and Spanish. I was born and raised in Istanbul, Turkey, alongside with my 2 other siblings. My parents were both teachers for over 20 years. However, this came to an end after the so-called alleged coup attempt on July 15th, 2016. My dad was the first one in our family to leave the country because he had a greater threat of being arrested. So I, my mom, and my siblings stayed back in Turkey. I do not want to waste your time by going too deep into the subject, so I'm just going to say that after going through some adventures, we were finally able to make it to the US. And here I am with this beautiful community. I have been involved in Advocates of Silence Turkey for more than 3 years now, and I had multiple opportunities to work on different kinds of projects. This means that I was able to see many different aspects of this organization, and I was able to witness how so many people work so extensively and so heartily to be the voice of those who are kept quiet back in Turkey as well as in other parts of the world. The most recent project I was able to work on was the graphic novel called The Farewell of Ahmet Burhan Ataç. It outlines the life story of Ahmet Burhan, who was an 8-year-old boy that passed away from cancer as he was prevented from getting it proper treatment by the Turkish government under the President Erdogan's regime. In AST, we think that such projects are essential in raising more awareness as they allow us to reach different audiences. And as you can imagine, it is not cost-free to make a project come to life. This is why Advocates of Silence Turkey needs its dear volunteers and supporters to get together on Giving Tuesday to make their generous donations. There are still so many voices to be heard and so many stories waiting to be told. So I am inviting everyone, including myself, to work hard towards this upcoming Giving Tuesday. No matter our differences, we should come together to help each other, because at the end, we share the greatest commonality of being a human. Thank you and stay safe.
I like that ending. Thank you and
You
stay
see the
safe.
smile on our faces.
I know.
Ben ve young.
I like that ending. Thank you and stay safe. Not everybody knows what safety means.
Yeah,
So
right.
it's good to pause and think about that. I think we have a video about, so I was talking about the expenses, where the, where the money would going, but I think we have a video about how the donations will be used.
Save the date. November 21st is AST's Giving Tuesday. On this day, AST aims to raise funds for the projects that it will run in the coming season. Now, let's take a look at on which projects the money will be spent. 25 to 30K will be used for International Freedom Convention on Human Rights. 18 to 25K, 6 short video productions like Abuse of Interpol by Turkey. 29 to 35K, 4 short documentaries. 25 to 30K, 10 legal applications. Another 25 to 30K, protests at more than 20 locations. 15 to 18K, international art contest and art book on Amazon. 18 to 20K, international White Chair Film Festival. 35 to 39K, 5 new books on Amazon and Google Books like Baby in the Bag. 21 to 25K, 4 reports like torture in Turkey and human rights violations against children. 25K, general expenses. In total, AST aims to collect between $236,000 to $277,000. It will be the money spent for all the right reasons. November 21, 2021. We start at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time.
I don't know if, so this is a fundraiser event, and I'm not sure if, we've talked about also donating your time. Look, 95,300 pledged and raised. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited, and we're only like halfway through. Oh, that makes my heart just sing. And giving is not just the money piece, whether it's coins or bills or credit card or check or whatever, whatever method for giving financially, but it's also we give our time, right? We give our talent. We give not just our treasure, but our time and our talent. So and you can go to silenceturkey.org and find a place I always talk about with volunteers to pick a lane, right? To pick a lane and follow your passion, because there's a place for everyone to do something, always. And it's not just, and again, it is the 2 weeks from today through December 5th. To make a contribution, to also see where you might, spend a little time. And just because we're virtual, trust me, doesn't there's a lot to be done, virtual and online. Nothing stops. The torture, the violence, the violation of human rights has not stopped. The silencing has not stopped. And just because we're online, our capacity to give, to support, to ease suffering hasn't stopped either. In fact, I honestly think that during the pandemic, we have been charged and sort of pushed even more into seeing how far can we move that wall of apathy, right? Can we really practice humanity and give in not just with money, but with our time and use our talents? So
Yeah.
I'm asking for that too.
Should we go on? Oh, there is a lot to cover. Okay. So I want to talk about reports as one part of our work. As AST, our main goals are first to raise awareness in all the platforms we can, and then based on this knowledge we create to take action. Is there a problem with the visual? I'm so sorry. I'm trying to be sure.
When the atrocities are happening, it is crucial that someone bears witness. When the victims are being silenced, it is essential that someone speaks up for them. As advocates of Silence Turkey, this is what we are doing. We are documenting the atrocities committed by the corrupt Erdogan government and sharing them with the international society, as all the means of justice has been put under the control of the same government in Turkey. We have recently put together 4 reports, each on a specific practice of oppression. The first one is about the systematic practice of torture and the impunity provided to the perpetrators by the government. The report discloses the fact that the practice of torture has been revived in Turkey in the last decade, and it's not much of a surprise for a government that legitimates using extra-legal means of violence and chokes on dissidents. Yet, there is no statute of limitation for torture, and our reports will bear vital importance when the country normalizes. The second report is on abduction by the shadow forces of government. Since the less than usual coup attempt of 2016, 144 abductions were conducted by the government targeting the followers of the Gülen movement. From Azerbaijan to Indonesia, people were kidnapped by the intelligence apparatuses of the Erdogan regime and brought to Turkey for imprisonment and probable torture. Freedom House's transnational repression report also underlines that no other country in the world has conducted such large number of renditions from so many host countries. The third report is about ill treatment in prisons. The report focuses on sick and elderly political prisoners who have been put in jail for the personal vendetta of Erdogan. As mass imprisonment of the dissidents turned the prisons into some sort of concentration camps, the political prisoners are trying to survive in the conditions far below human dignity. Even worse is the situation of the sick and elderly, since their rightful needs are not being met in a deliberate manner. The fourth report extends to the very basis for all these atrocities, the complete takeover of judiciary by Erdogan. The takeover started with Erdogan regime being caught red-handed in the largest corruption investigation of the Republican history at the end of 2013. Sustaining a heavy blow, Erdogan decided that he had to exercise complete control over the judiciary to establish an unchecked and unaccountable regime and purged whoever can possibly execute independent operations within the judiciary. In the aftermath of 2016 coup attempt, he purged thousands of judges and prosecutors to establish an authoritarian regime. So far, he seems to have been successful in this endeavor. Yet, Turkey is a great country whose heritage cannot be downsized to a one-man rule forever. Democracy has its proponents and human rights has its defenders. The victims have their brothers and sisters. We are here to defend them. Advocates of Silence Turkey.
So yeah, I guess there was something with the timing of the video, but it's okay. I was talking about the reports that we are working on. So I want to repeat the first sentence that I was saying. So as AST, I was saying that our main goals are first to raise awareness in all the platforms that we can. And then based on the awareness and the knowledge that we create through our work, is to take action. By taking action, I mean urging those in power to ensure the reinstatement of the rule of law in Turkey, and also to ensure human rights and hold the Turkish government accountable for its brutal acts. Writing reports and submitting them to related entities, committees, commissions is the vital part of the action I mentioned. So far, we have written and shared 46 reports, including those about the situation in Turkey's prisons and sick and elderly inmates, human rights violations, worldwide renditions conducted by the government, or torture incidents, collapse of rule of law, and more. With the hope that they will all serve the human rights fight, we'll continue our work dedicatedly. So thank you. And now we have a video message from Anne Salentrop. Anne retired in 2020 after 45 years in pediatric nursing in Kansas City area. She loves art, music, languages, and learning about other cultures. As a member of PeaceWorks, KC, Kansas City Physicians for Social Responsibility, and the Alliance for Nuclear, she has been involved with human rights causes and abolition of nuclear weapons for many years. She is a follower of the Catholic worker movement and the gospel of nonviolent love of friends and enemies. Let's listen to her.
Hello, my name is Anne Salentrop, and I'm from Kansas City, Kansas. We are in the exact center of the United States. I am a great-great-great-granddaughter of immigrants that came mostly from Germany. And I was born and raised in Kansas. Kansas is a very, very windy state. So I was, interested in helping others. So I became a nurse, and I worked in maternity and pediatrics for 45 years before I retired. And I'm also an artist, and those are self-portraits behind me. And I'm also very, very interested in peace and the things that make for peace. And I am in a group called PeaceWorks, and it's an organization here in Kansas City. And we work against nuclear weapons, and we work against any kind of problem that interferes with peace. So I met Eyüp Besson a few years ago and began to hear about Turkey and the problems there. And I become friends with other people through Eyüp. And I understand that certain people are scapegoated from the Hizmet movement in Turkey. And they're branded as terrorists now for about the last 5 years or so. And lots of people have been treated quite unjustly. They've lost jobs, been in prison, tortured, even killed. And I just got a book that I've been reading. It's Silent Scream, and was so touched by the woman in here who had to give birth by herself and not utter a single sound. And my God, she must have been terrified to have to deliver her own baby by herself, and to avoid becoming detected and imprisoned and so forth. So I would like to speak on behalf of the AST, the Advocates of Silence Turkey, and ask for your financial support, that these monies could be used to document these atrocities that are occurring, and make it known to the world what is going on there. I'm a citizen of the United States. We have the right to speak out. We have freedom of speech here, And as a Catholic, I am also bound to reach out and help anyone that I can, to show love to others, and you know, try to do, even though I'm just one person, I try to do what I can. So I would encourage people to reach out and let your friends, your neighbors, your family know about this cause, and donate whatever you can. Try to be generous, and this will hopefully reverse these abuses of human rights that are going on in Turkey at this point. And I thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Anne. She is tireless. I know Anne, and she is tireless and always working. I think she's also one of those people, is the minute you tell her something can't happen or why you can't do something or whatever, she's going to show you. Carrie is like this too. Carrie, that we heard from at the beginning, like the minute you say that, they're like, oh no, I don't think so. And they're going to absolutely show you how and why. And to make it happen. So we're gonna hear from Jan McDaniel, another volunteer for AST. She is the founder of Compassion Week and Bold Service and Social Justice Practice for the Los Altos United Methodist Church.
Hello, my name is Jan McDaniel, and I've been asked by the Advocates of Silent Turkey, or AST, to share why their work is important to me. And I believe, as a woman of faith, that it is critical that all humans have dignity, have human rights, and are able to live a free life. What's happened in Turkey recently under the Erdogan regime is unthinkable. And it is because of the people of Advocates of Silence Turkey and the work they are doing to keep these stories on the forefront of everyone internationally that I support this organization. Because as a woman of faith, as a person, as a citizen of the world, I care deeply about the human rights of individuals. These stories need to be told. And the work that they are doing to keep the stories on the forefront, to have to talk to judges, to have advocates, to write articles, to keep people educated about what's happening in Turkey is very important on an international basis. And so today, I ask you to consider how you can support the work of AST. Thank you.
She brings up a very powerful statement. Like she says, as a woman of faith, and I would even say as a person of faith. But I would, as a woman of faith, because there are so many women, you know, mothers and babies, women being imprisoned, that, you know, I can't even imagine. Or the story that Anne was talking about of the woman giving birth without making a sound. I don't know how we do that. So yeah, so we're also going to ask that if you, as a person of faith, are willing to give. Look, we from just you know, what, 10, 15 minutes ago, we've jumped to almost 20,000 more. So that's very inspiring, very, very much, very inspiring, and makes me, I don't know, just makes my heart sing. Because I know that it is, you know, if you ever wonder about the goodness of humanity, you know, and if you ever wonder about, you know, are people getting, you know, more apathetic or what's going on, I think it's just, that's evidence of that, no, we are inherently good. Don't you think, Hafsa?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. So well said.
I do.
So it's going well, I guess. Can you see the numbers?
Yes, I can see the numbers. Yeah. And yeah, there's and what's really exciting is to see the number of, you know, of small ones. I mean, there are huge pledges coming in, $2,000 from someone named Faith. So a person of faith, you know, $75 from Ibrahim, $10 from Selman, $20 from Fatima. And then there's like a $4,000 pledge from someone, $1,000 from somewhere else, from I know there's people in countries in Africa, in West Africa and South Africa. I know in Europe, here in the US. There's just people, $25 from Ibrahim, 25 from Erdal, $1,000 from Umuhan. There's just so many donations of all sizes coming in, of all denominations, and every bit helps. So, and we've already talked about, again, where the money is going, all the different projects, and we've seen a couple videos. The reports, those take an enormous amount of work, those reports, to do the research, to put the reports together. Because if you've ever written a paper for whether it's an undergraduate or graduate degree, having to, cite everything and to have the evidence, and not just making things up, but really the evidence, I can't even, the amount of work that takes. So there's where
there are some countries that my friends are sharing. Kelly, I think you could follow the messages that our facilitator is sharing with us. There are lots of different places from all around the world. Yeah?
Yeah.
Canada, France, Greece, Taiwan, Korea, Iraq, England, Germany, Netherlands, Japan, Nigeria, Chile, Burkina Faso, lots of different places. And I want to say something, a very, short thing about the things that you were talking about. It takes a lot of amount of money, energy, and dedication to get further of this work. So I have always been thinking that, and many of my friends are sharing the same idea with me, that we are breathing and living, freely, safely, securely, and there is something to pay back for this, all these, blessings from the God and all this stuff that we have right now as an opportunity. So we have to do more to be a voice of those voiceless people who are not in the same position as us. But recently we have just started a project, and there are lots of volunteers from also Turkey or from Greece, wherever the chances and opportunities are a bit different than that we have right now. So even if people are not having the opportunity as we have, all blessings that I was talking about, they're still trying to contribute to this work. Because if you believe in the humanity, if you believe in the bettering the world, wherever you are, you will find a way, right?
Yes, absolutely. There's always a way.
Yeah. Okay, let me go on, if you will allow me, my dear friend, my dear, co-MC. What do you say?
Absolutely.
Thanks.
Can't do it alone. It takes us doing it together.
Yeah. I don't know if, younger generation can understand, but we are the parts of the Voltron, the robot. Okay, I'm going to skip that, metaphor. So among other works and all the jobs that we are trying to do, there is another one, archiving the stories of persecuted people. I mean, the real life experiences of these, survivors of the persecution. So these real life experiences, real lives, archiving them is a quite significant part of our work. So far, we have published 29 books in different languages, compiled of these stories collected through the interviews with the survivors of the huge purge ongoing in Turkey. And you can find them on Amazon and Google Books. So Silent Scream that Sueda was talking about, and she's the editor, it's the newest one, consisting of 3 interviews. As I said earlier, to let more and more people learn and engage with the survivors of a dire persecution, these books play a vital role. So let's watch a video about it.
Silent Scream. True Stories of Oppression in Turkey is an account of the brutal persecution by the Erdogan regime through the testimonies of the victims that it targeted. It is all these true stories that make up this book, and these stories must have been documented so they would not be repeated in the future. These stories then must be told and retold only to remember what happens when the powerful goes corrupt. Silent Scream. True Stories of Oppression in Turkey by Advocates of Silence Turkey.
Let's continue hearing from from our younger, smarter, more creative, hopeful generation. We're going to hear from Rayhan Kass as a 14-year-old high school student. She's been living in the U.S. for just 3 years, but 2 of those years she had to live separately from her father. She volunteers for AST, and she's translating the stories of Turkish refugee children, and she's translating the stories of hope. So we hear a lot about how hard it is. We hear a lot about, the violence, the persecution, the violation of human rights. And we never want to forget, though, that there is absolutely hope in these stories.
Hi everyone, I'm Rayhan and I'm a sophomore at Bergen Tech High School. I have been part of AST's projects as a translator for the hope stories of Turkish refugee children. I want to start off by saying thank you everyone listening to this right now, because I believe you being here and listening to our stories comes from your love for humanity and your passion for equality. I began translating these stories because it was my way of being the voice of the voiceless. As you could imagine, I had a pretty rough experience back in Turkey as a kid. I did not see my dad for 2 years and was living under much pressure with all the events going on. But the hardest part was that I did not have anyone to blame. My dad left and they told me he had to, we had no other choice. I asked, why are we being treated like this? Why are people calling us names? And I was told, they're just bad people. When you receive these answers as a kid, it is hard to process what the reason for your suffrage is. I did not have any way of getting my emotions out there, or even simply have someone to talk to. The feelings that had taken over me are extremely indescribable, and the effect it had on me still remains to this day. I was emotionally scarred. I had fallen apart with no one to hold my hand and tell me to keep going. So when I found out I could help other kids out, it was a huge opportunity for me. Hope Stories, I believe, were a great opportunity for these kids to start speaking up and finally being listened to by someone. When I was reading their stories, I saw that all of these kids going through struggles have matured so much in such a sad but at the same time shocking and inspiring way. I cannot tell you the amount of times I could not hold my tears back reading their stories. They're all such precious and beautiful kids with big hearts. I want to share some of the things that they have said that were pretty striking. It goes, my dad was my will to breathe. It was as if they took my will to breathe from me. This kid is 12 years old, and when I read that sentence for the first time, I was blankly staring at my screen for a couple of minutes straight. The courage it takes to let out such scarring things is insane. It reminded me of when I wanted to be able to tell the whole world how I felt, how miserable, how lonely, and how dark it all felt. It reminded me of all the respect I have for the people doing these projects, putting in all their time and effort for these. I'm pretty sure every single one of you here would hold these kids' hands and help them through every step if you could. So do not think of these donations as something materialistic, because love is not something that goes away when you share it. If you give love, you get it back. If you make peace, you are made peace with. What I mean is that no matter how much you donate, it is the morality of this that matters to us and those kids. I did not have someone helping me out through the darkest times in my childhood, and every step of this that we take together in AST is the hope that we are giving out. Thank you for sharing your love and kindness.
Thank you, Rayhan. Thank you for reminding us what can be done and what we should do. Now let's move on with a new video message from Satbir Karkalsa. And Satbir has been involved in social justice and feminist activism for many years. Yay! As an academic working in the women's and gender studies field, I am very, happy to have such a message from Satbir. And in the 1970s, she had started the Toronto Rape Crisis Center, then later helped start the Snowflake Parent-Child Collective Daycare Center. Snowflake lasted more than 25 years, and the Toronto Rape Crisis Center still is active. Let's hear from Satbir.
Blessings. I'm Satbir Karkalsa. I live in Tucson, Arizona, and I am a Sikh. I'm not a Muslim or a Christian or a Jew. I'm a Sikh. And I wanted to extend to you, invite you to donate to AST. In Turkey, under the current regime, there is no free media, and many people are deprived of their freedom, their access to work, and their families are split up, with mothers and babies even being put in jail. Pregnant women, mothers with their children, or mothers taken from their children and put in jail. And many people have to flee, and it's dangerous, and they're having a horrible time there. Turkey's such a beautiful country and has such a long history in our world, and it's just so sad what is happening to people now. And your donation will help AST to create videos, to get out the real stories, to help people get free of prison and the oppression that they're experiencing there, and will help and will give hope, to give hope that people in the world care about what's happening to them. And this is so important, and only our individual giving can help with this effort. This is not a government situation here in the U.S. where the government is going to militarily go in and help these people. It is us. We are the ones who are helping them. And we must give them hope. We must let them see that there are flowers growing in the world. We must let them know that the sky is still vast above us, even when they're in prison and cannot see the sky. We must let them know that they have a larger world family when they're torn away from their birth families and cannot be with their loved ones. We have to let them know that there is love from us to all of them. I invite you to donate generously to AST today. Thank you very much.
It is a powerful message that Satbir brings to us in terms of just to let those know that are silenced, just in finding a way to let them know that that there is somebody out there, like, you know, and part of that is making a financial contribution. Look, we're more than halfway there, and it's only day one. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. We're more than halfway to the goal, and this is day one. This is, I don't have any words, Hafsa. I don't have any more adjectives. It's just, it's compassion incarnate. You know, the message that Satbir was bringing about sending a message, what I was thinking about was that making a, you know, if you make a monthly contribution, send a little note. Because I know, because I've made little videos, I've sent little messages. I know that they find a way to those that are in prison, those that are being oppressed, those that are, I don't know how, but I do know that the messages get through. And I would encourage, you know, if you have, you know, it's not just the financial contribution, but also giving voice, letting people know that, you know, I'm here with you. I'm here for you. You're not alone.
Yeah.
That there is hope. And that's what Satbir was talking about. And I love that message. You know,
yeah, I want to chime in. I met a woman in Texas maybe 2-3 years ago. I was there to make a presentation, and she was once in Turkey's jails before coming to the United States, and she told me that when she was there, when she was jailed, her lawyer was coming to visit her and, you know, giving some news about her family, her children, but also about the work that we are doing here. And she told me that to hear such a thing was kind of, she was describing her situation in jail like being in a graveyard, no oxygen, no light, and hearing this news that people are working for you from different faiths, from different cultures in different parts of the world. It was kind of a, little light or little oxygen that you can breathe through. So as you said, little contributions, big contributions through, financial, tools, means, or through your support and solidarity. This means a lot for the
Yes,
people.
the breath. That's a beautiful metaphor that you're breathing.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you.
Of course. Now we're coming close to the end of tonight, and I will introduce a powerful person and his powerful message, Craig Shagin. He's a graduate of Villanova University School of Law. Before opening his own firm, he was chief counsel of the Pennsylvania Department of Commerce and general counsel of Historic Landmarks for Living in Philadelphia. He's the author of numerous articles for public and academic publications, and a member of the American Immigration Lawyers Association, and currently adjunct professor of immigration law at Widener University, Commonwealth Law School. Let's hear him.
My name is Craig Shagin. I'm an immigration lawyer in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. I've represented victims of persecution and torture throughout the world. The one thing that all torturers have in common is that when they're alone with their victims, they keep telling the victim that no one is going to know how you suffered. No one is going to hear you cry. No one is going to know what I did to you. This itself is a form of torture. It's very common. And advocates for a silenced Turkey are trying to counteract that, to make sure that the world never forgets what is being done today and what they're doing, what the government of Turkey is doing to the victims that they are imprisoning and torturing. This is extremely important work, for it's a way to interfere with the torturer's plan of isolating and harming people. So I strongly support their mission, and I hope you will too.
Yeah, I would like to thank Mr. Shagin a lot for the work he's doing, for the support he's giving. And we have talked a lot about our work, different programs, events, or works that we are doing to raise awareness and to take action. And among all them is Freedom Convention that we did the first one last year in December 2020. And we will be organizing the second Freedom Convention about about the human rights violations in Turkey. And we will be organizing this convention for human rights activists, intellectuals, and policymakers who are focused on human rights violations, specifically in Turkey. And many outstanding experts and valuable speakers will attend the conference, and participants and experts will not only learn the ongoing violations and persecutions in Turkey, but also be able to develop strategies and recommendations to Turkish government and international bodies to end those grave human rights violations and persecution through these panel discussions. In pursuit of justice and peace, this convention aims to bring, hundreds, thousands of human rights defenders, activists together virtually, and also to foster the dynamics to mobilize. And there will be, as you can see on the screen right now, there will be 3 different panels during the convention. It's going to be on the International Human Rights Day, December the 10th. And these 3 panels will cover civil and political rights in Turkey, the crackdown of rule of law, and enforced disappearances, the international renditions and violations of human rights in prisons. And also in the last panel, we'll be discussing about the discriminatory government policies against minorities, ethnicities, dissidents. So stay tuned with us through our social media accounts and newsletters. Follow us to learn and know about what we are doing and what we are gonna do. Thank you.
Thank you, Hafsa. You know, I'm when, you know, all night long, I've been thinking about one thing in particular, and you talking about this Freedom Convention. I'm like, you know, I have to hold back all the things that I want to say, you know, because I just feel so drawn to this work. But yeah, if you could take down this video right now until I'm ready to talk about Elif. So what I'm reminded of, Hafsa, is here in the United States, there's a he's deceased for a long time now, over 100 years, but his name is Frederick Douglass.
Oh,
And
yeah.
he right. So he escaped slavery and went north, and is famous, an abolitionist, an author, you know, a very public speaker. And one of the things he said was that power concedes nothing without demand. He said, power concedes nothing without demand. So like the Freedom Convention, things like tonight, whatever financial contribution you have, however you can give of your time, is how we demand the power, how we, you know, and the power that's in power, right? The violent, you know, I'll even say evil, which I never really use that word, but the dehumanizing power government that's in place will only concede when there's a demand. And so Advocates of Silence Turkey, what we're doing tonight, this convention, they're all ways to demand, you know, a concession. So we have to keep pushing, right? Yeah, in whatever way we can, without burning ourselves out, you know, keep pushing. So
yeah, you know, Frederick Douglass, he's a powerful person that should be reminded in such an event. And also you say that demanding, and it reminds me of Audre Lorde. She was talking about breaking the silences. That's what we do, right?
Yes.
That's what we do. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. Thank you. So we're going to hear from Elif Sena. She works in the home. She takes care of her family. She has a daughter that requires her full-time attention due to her disability. But she's a woman that fled Turkey, and she now lives in Europe. So let's hear her story.
Hello, my name is Elif Sena. I am a housewife. My husband was a math teacher at the Hizmet schools. I have 2 daughters. My youngest daughter was born with the spina bifida condition. We have decided to set on this path, leaving behind our sorrows and troubles. This difficult journey has become even more challenging for us. Thankfully, we arrived in Athens safely. We were welcomed, our troubles were comforted, and wounds were soothed by our kind friends. We have been in Athens for 15 months now. My husband is in Switzerland, and we are looking forward to reuniting the family. The existence of AST has become a great support for us during this process. We have received wonderful spiritual support from them. In terms of financial aid, with their permission, we donated it to our blind friend Pinar, whose husband is jailed in Turkey. While AST's spiritual support has become a pair of feet for Pinar, its generosity has given a pair of eyes to our blind friend. On behalf of our friend Pinar and my family, I would like to express our deepest gratitude to AST's volunteers and all who contribute to them. May Allah clear your way from obstacles so that you can reach those in need. Goodbye.
Yeah, Kelly, as you see, we were just, you know, trying to tell how it is important, but I think Elif Sena just did it in a great way, right?
Yes, yes, she did.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, now, so remember that I said earlier that as AST, our main goals are first to raise awareness as much as we can prevalently, and then based on this awareness, you know, we work a lot to generate action. So protests are often the backbone of further activities. Since we have hundreds of volunteers across the world, we have the ability to organize protests in many different parts of the world. There have been 81 protests in 11 different countries. Among these events, I can say that white chair protest, in which the suspicious death of a Perth police officer was protested, and there was International Women's Day protest, every year so far, and one of them was a virtual one. More than 130,000 people across the world watched us on this virtual International Women's Day protest. And there was once a for the release of incarcerated babies. And yeah, let's say again, we will keep up the good work just along with you. Now we'll watch a video about the protest that we have done so far, with the help of our volunteers.
which recognize and protect the women's rights and well-being. We also call on the Turkish authorities to ensure the freedom of arbitrarily jailed women and the protection of the rights of incarcerated women.
Democratic mechanisms have reached the brink of collapse due to the administration's collective persecution of all political opponents and critics. Almost 130,000 people were dismissed from their jobs by emergency.
I actually just had goosebumps watching that. Yeah, 42 different cities. That's a lot.
It is.
It is a lot of cities.
Yeah.
We're going to hear from Kubra Unver, I think I said that right,
Yes.
who is a recent graduate from George Washington University with a Master of Arts in Education and Human Development in Counseling. Along with working in a private clinic as a national certified counselor, Kubra mentors middle school and high school students here in North America. She's been living abroad for over 25 years, and she's primarily interested in exploring cross-cultural differences in cognitive and behavioral development of adolescents. For the past 4 years, she's been actively involved in projects that are focused on human rights, advocating for human rights, and gaining mental health services, accessibility of mental health services for those that don't have access, specifically immigrant children and their families, as well as intra-faith understanding and interfaith understanding. So let's hear from Kubra.
Young people, those who feel young, and most importantly, you dear participants who care about human rights. Hello and welcome. My name is Kubra Unver and I host a monthly human rights Kahoot competition organized by Advocates of Silence Turkey, aka AST. As you know, one of the core establishment reasons of AST is to utilize all human rights advocacy tools, mechanisms, and systems that can possibly be used to protect and promote human rights. From hundreds of its volunteers, our Kahoot team builds 15 questions that encompasses important names, dates, places, populations, projects, and most importantly, stories that are inevitable part of this cause. Our content covers general knowledge about human rights and its violations, not only limited in Turkey, but around the world. Here are some of the topics we talked and covered. Persons with disability, whose number is almost 1 billion, facing barriers to accessing education, health, and other services. The most widespread violation of human rights today, which is violence against women and girls. Did we cover that too? Yes, we did. 152 million children working in labor. Did we talk about that? Yes, we did. Main slogans of the massive protest against police brutality in the US in 2020. I hear you all loud and clear. We can't breathe. Last, what is the application fee of European Court of Human Rights? I don't know what you're saying, but it's nothing but free of cost. In addition to these topics, which I just listed only a few for the sake of our time, I would like to read some of the names. Mahatma Gandhi, Rosa Parks, Susan B. Anthony, Ayşe Özdoğan, Mother Teresa, Orhan İnandı, Ahmet Altan, Fatih Terzioğlu. These are only some of so many names we commemorate. I've got some good news. From this month onwards, we will dedicate each month's gathering for one person. This month, we will do the competition in memory of Berkin Elvan, who lost his life at the age of 16 due to the gas canister fired by the police during the Gezi Park protests. Our Kahoot competition has been designed to encourage young people to learn what human rights violations are, where and how to report them, and what they can do to contribute. Along with Did You Know segments, we introduced several projects and new information related to human rights that participants can utilize. In short, if I were to summarize this content in few words, I would say this is a project no one leaves without learning something new. We talk, we listen, we learn, we earn, and we enjoy. Speaking of earning, we have a prize of $200 for the first place, $150 for the second, and $100 for the third place. Stay tuned for the upcoming months because we will have more surprises. Is that all? Nope, there are more. One of many things I'm proud about our project is that AST truly values human rights and very sensitive about appreciating those who are interested in human rights education and advocacy. So in this competition, our prizes will go not only to top 3 winners, but also everyone who answers 12 or more questions correctly. In order to learn about prizes, like other prizes that I haven't mentioned, I invite you to join us at AST's YouTube channel on 3rd Sunday of every month. Yes, we come together 3rd Sunday of every month. For now, that would be all. For more, you can check out AST's website, YouTube, Twitter, Patreon, and other social media platforms.
Kelly, you know what? You know what I'll say? I was a teacher. Actually, I don't want to use the past tense because I'm still a teacher. You know, being a teacher is a lifelong thing. It never goes away. So everybody was asking me, has always been asking me how, okay, it's going to be some self-praise, but I hear this a lot, you know, how can you, you know, stay such energetic, such young? Being with young people makes you feel that way, makes you live that way. So can you see, Kübra, and can you imagine that I am always with these young people? So how come I can, you know, get old or I cannot be energetic? That's the way, okay? Believe me.
Yeah, you'll never get old. And how many people listening to her, you know, when she said the 3rd Sunday, I'm like, oh, I'm pulling out my calendar while she's talking, like, oh, what's on the 3rd Sunday? Like, so whoever's listening, the 3rd Sunday, you know, mark your calendar. Yeah. Just the energy of it keeps me going.
Okay. Let's move on. So we have a video message from Joyce Davis. I love her. I feel lucky to meet her. So she's an award-winning journalist and internationally acclaimed author with a distinguished career working for some of the most respected media organizations around the globe, including Broadcasting for Radio Free Europe, Radio Liberty, where she supervised hundreds of reporters and editors assigned to radio and internet services to Iran, Iraq, Afghanistan, and the countries of Central Asia. Night Reader newspapers, the National Press Club, Speakers Bureau, and National Public Radio, to name a few. This is to name a few. Oh my God. Davis is the author of many articles, broadcasts, and 2 books, Between Jihad and Salam, Profiles in Islam and Martyrs' Innocence, and also Vengeance and Despair in the Middle East. She also authored a chapter in the trauma of terrorism, and she is also the opinion page editor at Penn Live. Davis has received 3 other honorary doctorate degrees. Let's hear from her.
Hello, everyone. This is Joyce Davis, and I'm President and CEO of the World Affairs Council of Harrisburg. And I'm coming to you today to ask for your support for a very special organization that has partnered with ours throughout several years. But I'm contacting you to request you to support Advocates for Silenced Turkey. This is a great organization that is doing such important work now to give a voice to those people who are suffering in Turkey. Listen, we all know that things have taken a turn for the worst in a country that so many thought would be at the vanguard of democracy movements throughout the Middle East and Asia. That has turned out not to be the case. Now we have political prisoners, including women and children who are in prison. And I'm also a journalist, and it's very important to me that journalists be allowed to function and to operate in a free society. That is not happening today in Turkey. And Advocates for Silenced Turkey are at the forefront of bringing this information to the world, crying out for those people who cannot cry out for themselves. So on Giving Tuesday, I urge you to support Advocates for Silenced Turkey. They need our help.
Thank you, Joyce. Thank you, Joyce. Very powerful voice for AST. We couldn't even do her justice from her, all the places that she's written for, that she's been in charge of, that she's, around the globe, the organization she's written for, and the organization she has run and led, and awards. We didn't even mention the awards she's been given. She's got 3 honorary doctorate degrees, and taking the time to add a voice here. Journalists are some of the most powerful voices that we have. And by the way, anybody can be a quote unquote journalist. It's called social media, right? You can be on, lots of us are on social media, whether it's Facebook or Twitter or Snapchat or Instagram or somewhere, and just say something, put the link up. Let someone know that you've given $5. Let someone know that this is even going on. Let someone know that women and children are being put in prison. Let someone know that there are thousands of people being silenced, and that it's not okay. So we each actually can, quote unquote, be a journalist, just very simply. You can go to AST's Facebook page and just share their posts just to let the world know. We have a lot of donations coming in, $5, $20 from Timud, $125 from Yusuf, $25 from Daryl, $50 from Mehmet, $100 from Engin, sorry, I'm butchering names. But $13 from Omar. You know what? I saw one though that really I wanted to, someone said, I wish I could have given more. And I would like to invite the person to just, you can let that go. I know everyone wants to, so many of us want to give more in terms of money, in terms of our time, but it's okay. Whatever you've given is perfect because you've given it from a consciousness of generosity. You've given it from your heart. You've given it because you believe. So whatever that is, whatever that amount is, just say thank you to yourself. And we absolutely thank you very much. You can see on the screen there several times, we have gone far beyond the halfway mark at 139,000 pledges and how much has been raised. It's very exciting, don't you think, Hafsa?
Yes, absolutely. I'm so excited, and I want to thank each and every one of you for your financial contributions, for the good words that you are posting on the comments part, or for all the stuff. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you for your time. Thank you for any donation that you've given. And we're going to continue this through December 5th. So if you're watching this and maybe right now you're thinking, I don't I'll have a few bucks on Friday, when I get paid, or I want to spend some time on the website and see how I can give a, volunteer. This Giving Tuesday is, we're focusing on this today, November 21st through December 5th. So please come back and watch again and watch the videos. Wonderful messages from so many people. Wonderful messages from people that have given of their time, their talent, and their treasure. And I don't know what else to say. I'm just really blown away by the generosity.
Yeah, and it's been an amazing event tonight in this last 2 hours. You did great, guys, and in supporting us, supporting the people back in Turkey whose rights are being violated harshly. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. We you can see on the screen again all the different all the projects, where the money that you give, where it does go. And every dollar is, please don't, to say I only could give. No, turn that around and thank yourself that you have been able to give what you've given, because I know that that for everyone who volunteers, for everyone who gives, it is an honor, it's a privilege, and we say thank you. We don't take any gift lightly. We honor all of it, and we know it's generative, right? Every gift that comes, when it comes from the heart, it just expands. It just continues to expand and makes the voice louder, right? The voiceless makes the voice louder. It's been an honor for me to be with you, Hafsa, and everyone tonight. These, people that are so accomplished, brilliant, motivated individuals from all over the U.S. and all different parts of Europe. And I'm glad that we were able tonight to talk about what AST does, since it's because it's only what, 5 years old?
Almost,
not even quite, right?
Yeah.
So that just, yeah.
Yeah.
So to be able to show what AST has done and will continue to do in the future is really important. So please share, even though, we're coming to a close of our live event, share the video. Just let people know that that what's going on, and that as horrific as it is for those that are being silenced and persecuted and killed or disappearing, that what tonight is about is the hope that there is, we can demand a change in the power.
And it's been an honor for me to make, this program here, to be a speaker here, to be a voice of these voiceless people. I love this phrase, so I'm using a lot, but it's the fact, it's the reality. We are here and we are giving voice to the voiceless people, being a speaker on behalf of them. So it's been an honor for me, to be presenting this program, and it's been an honor, partnering with you.
It is. It's always a pleasure. It's always a privilege. It's always an honor. And
thank you.
I look forward to more days. We want to welcome everybody that's here tonight. For those that are going to watch this, I'm saying it at the end, but welcome, because we're just, while AST is not quite 5 years old, we're just getting started, and the best is yet to be. I believe that. So we want to wish you all a very good evening. Thank you for your patience. If you had any, digital glitches along the way, and for your support in all the ways that any of you support.
Thank you. Let's keep up the good work all together, guys.
Absolutely.
When you